So that is
Yes,
the other
I
ice
actually
card.
used that to freeze
Right.
Tanner's Voltaire in a game.
Wait, are you sure you can do a weapon?
Equipment, yep.
Is a weapon an equipment?
I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure.
think they are.
No, they are
They're
not
just
technically an
weapon.
equipment.
You just can IP force
Oh,
Tanner.
damn. If I just shrouded that, well, that's my bad. That game I did get to
Tanner's gonna be
win
listening like, what the son of a
It's gonna be
bitch?
that son of a bitch.
I'll freeze your Voltaire. Like, what do you even do? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 32 of Big Deck Energy. My name is Tyler Barrett, joined tonight with my co-host Josh Lucien, Bailey Hilton, and Ben Clifford. What's up, gents?
Howdy.
How you guys doing?
What's up?
Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to actually have an overarching topic for our episode.
I mean, we're not gonna go off the rails.
Oh no, I'm sure there was going to be plenty of that going on.
That's right. Cliff's still here.
No, I wanted to talk about Flesh and Blood or the classes themselves, kind of more on a thematic flavor type of discussion, if you will, where, sometimes when you're playing these decks, it really translates the class into like actually playing the cards themselves, and just diving into each class and how that happens would be kind of a good discussion, I think. So
Absolutely.
we're going to do that. But first, let's go. Let's do our weeks in Fab. I know me and Josh did not play any Fab again.
No, that's not true. I played a little Fab on Friday
sorry.
at Cliff's house.
Brother, he played some Fab.
Yes,
on
brother.
That he did.
I suppose I have been testing a little bit too. I did find a few things out about the Tekla list I'm changing. So that was
You're
kind of
changing it again?
yeah. Well, so I thought it was like pretty. I guess I'll start because I have very little news. But I like added the scars for RTN season to like fight the angels and the dragons and stuff. I'm not really sure how I missed this card, but Standing Order is just all around a better and more versatile card than Scar for Scar, and it does what I want Scar for Scar to do, just kind of better.
That's so funny. I've been looking at slotting that into my Bolton list for that exact same reason. It does the same thing as, I think it's Brothers in Arms, or it's the one where you have to like discard to get the defense.
Rally the
rear guard. It just does that, but better.
Yeah.
So I was like, why have I not?
Yeah, I'm not sure how I missed that card. I was looking for something to do on my action phase to like deal with a dragon, where a lot of times you can get caught in the cycle where you're like popping a thing and then you want something on your main phase to, whether it's chamber plus pistol or like a Scar for Scar, I thought. And it actually worked well the time it came up against the Prism opponent. I did play it that RTN season. I ended up winning that game. But I'd like to think Standing Order just theoretically is a better card. Blocks for 3.
I think so. I think when we were doing our card evaluation,
it can be a popper?
we put that up. I think we put that up on our card evaluation of heavy hitters. So I don't know how.
And then I just kind of forgot about it.
No, I don't know. I don't know how I missed it either.
It's
because
great.
it acts as a popper too. It's kind of Scar for Scar, but like also a popper sometimes.
Yeah.
And also blocks 3. Like
It's way better.
It's very weird how I
Blocks
didn't see
for
that
4,
card.
doesn't it?
No.
It blocks for 3.
It blocks 3.
But you can
and then if you bottom your
bottom a
arsenal
card to make it block for
make
5.
it block.
So
Okay.
actually, it's funny in a weird like niche scenario if they like gloves their erudition and come in for 5, dominate.
You can completely block it.
Yeah, like with that card, I could even like block an erudition with it, which is kind of funny.
That's nice.
But yeah, added that card. Also, the Kano problem. I think I'm going to just cut the Oasis Respites. I played against 2 Kanos this week, and in one of the games, the guy, honestly, he blocked with all 4 cards in his hand against my pistol, showing me like, I don't care what you... It's like, I felt like he was trying to say, I don't care what you're doing. You can do all the damage you want to me right now because you're not dealing any damage to me, because that's Tekla, you just kind of don't.
Yep.
You're just presenting like in our games, I think you were learning Kano.
Yes.
So like it was easier for me to kind of learn that matchup too. But against like some of like the people that have been on the deck, they'll just sit and pitch stack me into
Constantly,
oblivion.
yeah.
Well, I can't present any damage to like really threaten them.
The deck is definitely a big block deck, and
he got through 2 of my Oasis, and I had like 2 relics in play. So like, yeah, dude, it just didn't even matter. And like, if it's not even gonna matter, then why even play those cards? You know?
What's the game plan into Kanos then? Are you just trying to?
I think I might even cut
them?
AB. Yeah, I think I just still go for Singularity Plan and try to like, I guess I don't know.
Just hope you
No, I
dodge
sit
the
down.
Kanos?
They flip Kano. I scoop. I go get, a drink, have a smoke, whatever. like that. I think that's the plan. You just show me Kano and I scoop. I don't know. I just hope to dodge all the Kanos. Maybe. I don't know.
I've been running into the same problem with the Bolton list. Like, there is just nothing that it can currently do.
Well, like at first,
like that much arcane.
I was able to fatigue some Kanos in testing, like with the game plan I had. But then, like against some of the good ones, it was very like evident that it's not feasible. It's not going to work. I can't present enough damage. My tanks are all kind of dead cards unless I like establish evos, and that's really hard to do against Kano because you have to like never go, with your shields down.
So the game plan is just essentially try to get your evos out as fast as possible and hopefully hit Singularity in time.
I think maybe I go up chambers. If I go up chambers and run 3 chambers and have AB3, maybe that's it. So I can like chamber, standing order for 0 or for 4. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I guess there's a ton of blues, so like AB3 can be annoying for them. They also just don't care about AB3 when they want to.
That's true.
So it's weird, like kind of faltering on the Kano plan a little. Might just not even have one.
As in chambers, you mean relics?
No, I meant like the induction chambers. Like,
gotcha. For pistol plan.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I think I only have the 1 in there right now.
So you're just going to cut all AB. Are you going to keep your rusted relics? Or are you going
Yes, I have to have those for rune blades. Yep.
Okay. Yep.
Because like they're free almost
prism,
in the rune
guess,
blades. Because like the second and third ones and the prism and Droma, I'll run the 1 because like that's actually saved me in games where I've like had AB at the end when they did their angel shit and their merciful.
Yeah,
like it actually
the rune blades too.
That too. I mean, the only reason I won the game against Bailey was because of rusted. But the second and third one actually. They're not like dead cards because you just have a AB now and you pitch them to AB, so they're block 3s. You know what I mean?
Sense.
Or like they can be. You can pitch them for 3 or
are
they're
they a blue pitch?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's kind of it. Tweaking the deck a little bit. I mean, just small little incremental upgrades. I mean, again, they're pretty clear. I don't know how I missed that, but
yeah.
I was excited.
Small deck energy.
I was excited when I saw it and found it. And I was like, "Whoa, what? I thought the deck was pretty solid. Like, what's happening?" And then the Kano thing too is like, I got to do something with those couple slots.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Cliff and Bailey, I know you guys played in a armory. I didn't do too much. I just played a few games at old Cliff's house and won 1, lost 1. So yeah.
Oof. 1-1 drop.
Yep. But how'd your guys' armory go?
How was your armory this weekend? You actually played in one.
Cliff actually drove down ours.
I know.
God damn it.
Yeah, I did. Blitz event, as many of you well know, and I decided to bring out the Cheyenne list. I was like, you know what? Let's see how she's ripping.
Let's go, dude.
And game 1 was into a new prism. Started doing the things with the angels about midway, and I was getting kind of spooked. Kept throwing some big turns at him, but he was just using the ward on the angels. And by the time we got down to endgame, we were 1-1, and I was just like, all right, screw it. So I threw a bet big for like 14, and he ended up not being able to block it, and I got him on that. So I picked up the dub, round 1. Round 2, I played into Dory. This is probably pilot skill, not the actual deck. I can't block a Dory to save my life. They just kind of go, ha, and then hit me anyways. But once again, close game. I got to do some shenaniganry, but didn't really hit the stride on anything. I will say,
that was a good word.
I think it was a turn 2 Endless Winter fused in every game that I played today, which felt kind of awesome.
And you have the only the list you have was kind of the one that like we were working on before this, right?
Yeah, it's very similar.
Yeah,
You kind of pivot her into a Guardian, and you just attack reaction anything you can.
You have Northern Winds in the deck, correct? So that is
Yes,
the other
I
ice
actually
card.
used that to freeze
Right.
Tanner's Voltaire in a game.
Wait, are you sure you can do a weapon?
Equipment, yep.
Is a weapon an equipment?
I'm pretty sure.
I think they are.
No, they're
They're
not
just
technically
weapon.
an equipment.
You just get IP force
Oh,
Tanner.
damn. If I just shrouded that, well, that's my bad. That game I did get to
Tanner's gonna be
win
listening like, what the son of a
It's gonna be
bitch?
that son of a bitch.
I'll freeze your Voltaire. Like, what do you even do? Oh shit.
That's a fucking time walk right there. Just, hey, skip your next turn, Lexi.
No, I could see running the Northern
Let me
Winds.
go check that.
Yeah,
I'd use it for the
judge.
fusion
Can we get a
mode,
judge in
please.
here? Where's Nathan?
Hey, Nathan, please weigh in as you listen to this segment.
Well, he's gonna message right away.
Oh
We'll
yeah.
click
Oh,
the-
The
yeah.
second he hears this.
Oh yeah. Freeze up to one equipment, item, and or ally each here controls.
Yeah, I don't think.
So yeah,
a
it depends
weapon.
if a weapon is not. I know that some have the equipment weapon on them.
Yeah, but like one.
I think it's Parry Blade.
I think
Yeah.
it's literally just Parry.
Yeah, I
Blade.
think that's just Parry Blade. Alrighty.
Cliff's
Well,
realizing in real
He's like,
time.
well, shit.
A blade?
shit.
Parry the blade?
Oh shit, dude.
Well, that kind of sucks. But
No,
fun thing
that's
about
alright.
that game is I was able to win a up the ante bet on something for the agility, and then the next turn I pursuit of knowledge red pummel into I think it was a shake or it was a wage gold.
Goodness, dude.
Damn.
Yeah, that's Cheyenne.
That was a fun one.
Were you ever able to do like the Tome from Arsenal or like cash in like shenanigans where you just have like 6 cards and crippling crush fucking with a pummel? Because you get to
I
do
do
that quite often.
I do think I pummeled a crippling crush.
Yeah, dude. It's kind of a pipe dream even in
It's-
Bravo to do that, but like
Yeah.
Cheyenne can actually do it with her Teklo cores and like all
Teklo-core,
of the,
baby.
Yeah, dude, the Teklo cores come in handy so much.
Absolutely
So
disgusting.
good.
Is she just secretly like a guardian and not
Yes.
a shapeshifter?
Yeah, dude. I'm so
Like-
happy
Oh, yeah.
that someone else is finally playing the fucking deck. I've been trying to get you clowns to play it. And then Cliff shows up and he's like, I'm like, dude, is this the deck? He's like, this is the deck. I'm like, let's go. Because it basically is just a pummel guardian
It
deck.
really is.
You just play high cost shit with pummels behind them. And
Cheyenne's
draw a
literally
bunch of
just
cards.
value town. Which cards can you use to like value your game?
well, you get the shield now too, so you get to block a little better. The
Yep.
the hat from Betsy, you get to block with
Yeah,
that
she
a little
needs to
better now
cash it
too.
in.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. She's
So
disgusting now.
dumb.
I actually have not been able to play like a physical game with her since the release of Heavy
Yeah,
Hitters. but
she's super fun. In game 3, who did I play? Who did I play in game 3? Tanner might have been my game 3 because it was Prism, round 2 Dory, and then 3 Tanner on Lexi. That's what it was.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was my game order.
So-
Sorry for freezing your Voltaire when I shouldn't have been able to, Tanner.
So 2-1, technically 1-2 for cheating.
Can we retroactively
Yeah.
give Tanner the win?
That would be how it goes.
yeah, can we go back in gem and like give Tanner the win? You just stealing his XP over there?
At the next event, I'll just take the L if we play each other.
No,
Shut
don't do that.
up.
Shut up.
Well, Bailey, how about you?
Yeah, that's how my Saturday went. Yep.
Yeah, my Saturday was fucking terrible. Brought the O2 gear, lived up to the name.
Shut up.
Nah, who am I kidding? I fucking 3-0'd that bitch
Let's go, dude. Let's go.
on fucking Bolton. On my extremely fatigue heavy
Can
Bolton.
I ask you a question?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Were you
Oh,
playing, were you playing Decimator?
Oh yeah, it was Decimator. It was
okay,
absolutely
okay.
Decimator.
You just got to make sure.
Yeah. No, game 1, I went into Drew, and I, for the life of me, cannot remember who he was on.
Was he on
He
Max?
was on Max. He
Oh,
was
wait,
on
Drew
Max
played?
List, yeah.
Did like a bunch of people show up after I left? I
Yeah,
like
I
showed
think
up
so.
to give Carter a couple cards.
Oh yeah, there was like
And then I gave Cliff Reelins.
I think
and
there
then-
were like 10-ish people there.
Dude, I left with like 10 minutes
Yeah.
to go before it started. And
I must have just missed you.
yeah, Danny came too. And
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fuck?
But yeah, no, played into Drew on Max, and that one went about what you would expect.
Yeah.
Max into a very defensive heavy deck to do.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 turn cycles and he just has no deck.
Yeah, yeah. That one
Yeah.
came down to the actual like fatigue.
Mhm.
So picked that one up. Went on to game 2 against Tanner. Managed to pick up the dub without cheating.
Cliff, shots fired.
He was on. Who was he on this week? Cliff, who was Tanner on?
Lexi.
Lexi. Yeah.
Lexi.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of similar story there. I can block.
You can just block
too well.
everything. Yeah. Do you just have all the D reacts and shit in it?
Oh yeah.
Plus the fridge. He has a really good blocking suite.
Yeah,
you know?
it's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It's all 2 blocks. Yeah, he threw like a. What was it? It was like a Bolton shot for like 8 or 9 or something like that. I think it was 8 because I just unmovable from Arsenal and like shut down the entire turn. Like no reload off of it.
It feels so good. Yeah. Unmovables in the right spot against Rangers, I think, are like where they shine.
So
because like the on hits are so filthy with Rangers, and you just read unmovable from Arsenal. It feels the best.
You're like, no. Yeah. But that one, it didn't come to fatigue. I think I actually killed him with the axe.
Felling swing ?
No, what did I do? Oh, I had one of my soul shields in Soul Still. So I Iron Song Determination into my axe, banished the card from Soul to give it go again, and hit him with a red Findel's Fighting Spirit.
Nice.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, it was brutal.
It's pretty good.
It was. I forget that I can do that, and I'm like looking over my hand, and I'm like, it's still Bolton. I can still banish to give things go again. What am I doing?
Yep.
Yeah,
my brain's just so focused on
snatch,
like block.
Snatch and Bolton, like they'll always like somehow pump it or whatever, and then just give it go again anyways. And you're like, what, dude? What the fuck?
Yep.
Yeah.
Snatch with go again is always like the best shit.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Played Carter in the finals. He was on KO, and that one was tough. That was, KO just high rolls the shit out of you. Survived his first cast bones, and then I think it was like halfway through the game, he hit me with the second one, hit all 6, and I'm just sitting there like, shit. I'm like, that is a lot. There's like some brute like fucking 8 power attack.
Swing big.
Swing big.
Yep.
Yeah. Throws the swing big.
Jeez.
Coming in for like 21.
Just has the actual nuts. Just swing big as your first attack,
And
with cast bones.
I think coming out of that turn, I took like 4 or 5 damage.
Oof. Just blocked majority of it. And, oof.
Just give him the fridge, block with your whole hand type of thing.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
I was like, I can take a turn off. I still survive this.
Yeah.
And
fuck yeah.
Hit him with the felling swing axe.
Yeah. Felling swing is such a gross card.
Axe coming in for 9
with the first card being halved is gross.
It's so brutal. It's basically a 4-card block at that point.
So you're gonna build after that showing? Are you gonna build Bolton CC? I've been telling you for months.
Toying with it.
Okay, it's a good deck, dude. It's very, very good.
I love that deck. I hate playing Fatigue.
Yeah,
hate it. I don't know. It feels kind of like Tyler's relationship with his Teklo deck.
I was just, I literally was
fucking
trying to jump in here talking about Teklo
because I love the deck.
Yeah,
it's so fucking fun.
I don't necessarily like to sit there and block all game, but
it feels like it shouldn't work. Mm-hmm. And then you just sit there at the end of the game and you're like, I still have like double your life. You have no deck, and now I just felling swing. Here's an axe for 9. I can banish a card maybe. And
yeah. And even if you don't, I feel like a lot of times they're just happy to just swing axe. Like, that's it. They just swing axe every time.
And that's like the first 2 games, what it came down to is like, I would just swing axe, and the first like 3-4 turns, they're like, oh, it's just 4? Just 4 damage? And it's like, yep, just 4 damage. And then by the end of the game, they're like, oh, I have to block that with 2 cards to take no damage, huh? Yeah. And I'm like, mm-hmm.
See, that's the worst thing about...
You start to just chew up their deck at that point.
That's the worst thing about some of these heroes when they have, like, an actual on-rate weapon. Like, they don't value the actual damage coming from just a weapon. They're like, oh, I can keep a full grip. And then with your fatigue plan, where you're literally blocking everything, and then you just save 1 card in hand to axe for 4, it adds up after a couple turns. And then you're on the back foot.
Like, 2 hits with that is almost half your fucking life.
That's exactly right. Yep.
I think in Blitz too, like, it's funny, fatiguing in Blitz, it's you get to like learn your pitch stack and like the actual fatigue game like way it's way more clear and easy to like identify and learn in Blitz, I think. So like
yeah, it was definitely like
were you starting to get into second cycle, seeing and like ever like looking and going, oh shit, like I remember these fucking cards.
Second cycle, and I was like,
yeah,
oh yeah, I put these like this for a reason.
Exactly.
I was pitching like my felling swing into like 3 blue pitches right after that, so that I could like felling swing axe and pipe dream banish something to hit him with like a Findles or something. And
do you run the red felling swings or do you run
just the blues?
Just the blues, because the reds give it +7, right?
What?
Yeah,
because the blues are +5. No, it's a 3 cost.
But there is not a lot of room for reds in that.
Yeah,
deck.
I was gonna say if you run reds, I feel like that's like one of the only reds that you're running.
The reds are kind of taken up by my unmovables. I have my Findles, the Oasis Respites, and
Brothers in Arms.
Yeah, I do run the full rainbow of Brothers in Arms.
Gotcha.
Soon
to be standing order.
Same with Rally the Rear Guard, but I think those ones are swapping in for standing order.
Gotcha.
Not think. I just need to wait for my copies to get here. But yeah, I again, I don't know how I fucking forgot about that card.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm on the fence now. Like I am definitely gonna be building a deck.
You play in this ProQuest season, right?
Oh yeah, I'm playing. But I'm so
just don't
on
know
the
what
fence
to
now
yet.
between like him and Azalea now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, I keep kind of going back and forth with myself too about that. Like,
this is what gets me every fucking ProQuest season is I go in and I'm like, I don't know who to play. I just need to make a fucking decision, stick with the deck, and like do it.
I think I'm just gonna be on Teklo for like the foreseeable future. Honestly,
not bad.
Just because of like the amount of reps I've had with the deck and like. I don't know. I truly feel like you can, it's like a 50-50 into most decks, if not like favored. Yeah. And then you just have those weird, just like decks that you lose to automatically. It sucks. That's like Dromai, right? It's probably one of my worst matchups. There's just a ton of Dromai right now. So like, is it smart to be bringing a deck to like these tournaments when like one of the top decks is an auto loss for you? Like
probably not always going to be there. Like until she rotates.
No, but like you also can just like, I don't know. I keep hearing this term gem luck be thrown around this last like week or two, where like you with these open fields like this, it's sort of gem luck where every hero has their bad matchups right now, you know, and it's such an open field where like you literally could play any of these heroes that are on the roster for CC heroes when you go to like a Battle Hardened or RTN's ProQuest, whatever, all that shit. So I don't know. I keep wavering kind of like you, Bailey, where I'm like, I have Azalea built. I've probably overall put more reps into Azalea, but recently in the last few months, it's been just like nothing but Teklo. And I don't know, it'd be cool to see like that effort I put forward, kind of something come from it, Yeah.
Well, looking at the Living Legend list here, of Living Legend points, Dromai has gained 148 over the season, and she is currently sitting at 796.
Highest winning hero, I think, in RTN season.
No.
That's crazy.
KO, 200.
Really?
KO is 200.
I thought Dromai was the most winning.
She is second.
I feel like I didn't really hear about like any of the Dromai wins.
There was one week where Dromai led, and then Kano led the 1 week. And then maybe it was KO or Victor. No, it was Victor 1 week even.
Was it?
Yes.
So the top scores.
Right. There was like 7 different heroes that all had.
So the
like
top scores coming out of the heavy hitter season, we have 200 with KO at the most. Dromai second with 148. Then you got Kasai with 120. Victor with 112. Katsu at 112.
Some of those
Kano
might be
at 112.
Really? Are those counting like? Do you get Living Legend points for draft? Because I swear to God, Kasai was not third.
You do not.
You're just going off the points though on the leaderboard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. There was like a ranking.
It shows like the whole. It shows the whole season.
Yeah.
And then it shows the total. But
Kasai is so popular right now. That's another thing. It's like
everybody loves her.
Yeah, there's so many good matchups for some decks, and then there's just your bad. Like with Kano, they say Kano is really hard for Kasai and stuff. Like
Ty, you're not gonna like hearing this.
No,
Yeah,
I
that
am.
Kano is
I already
really
know what
hard
you're
for
gonna say, and
Kasai.
it's my goal.
Every
no.
person on the list has points. Every hero except Tekla.
Yes, I know that.
Every
My
single
goal
one.
this ProQuest season is to be the first person to get LL points for him.
Bolton picked up quite a few.
This is
this
my
season,
goal.
didn't
Yeah,
he?
Bolton picked up. Where's he at? Where's Bolton? 68.
Damn.
So he's now sitting at 290, as well as Azalea.
he's
She
getting
picked
up
up
there.
68 as well.
What is she at total now?
276. She is just below Bolton.
Shit, I'm gonna have to start thinking about other heroes.
I think you got a bit, bud.
But we did just have a battle
I don't
Hardened,
know.
and
Fucking
Did
Part
you
the
hear who
Mistfails
won?
Got me excited.
Like on what, or like what hero and what figuration of hero?
Kasai
It was Kasai.
with axes.
Yeah.
Dual axes.
Yep.
If you think about it, those dual axes are so good. They buff off each other.
body and mind.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
They buff off each other.
The blood on her
so
hands,
good.
that's just a crazy turn.
No, I think it's great.
So if you're doing your gold thing and you gain, well, just even the fact that cash in 1 gold and you get 6 cards in hand, absolutely. Well, if you play cash in from Arsenal,
Yeah.
but 6 cards in hand is unheard of. It's disgusting.
No, I know. No, it's kind of makes me think of Cole's deck from RTN season. He beat me on dual wielding Dory.
Mm-hmm.
The first tournament, it was like
Hot Streak Saber.
yeah, it was Hot Streak Saber. Yeah, and then he showed up the following weekend with Hatchet Dory, and top 4 and qualified for Nats on Hatchet Dory. So
I honestly
something up with the hatchets for sure.
I know on our last pod Nathan brought it up. I brought it up to some of these other guys in the pod and some of the community, but Axe Olympia seems just good.
I think that's what most people are doing with Olympia is
Like
the axes.
dual axes is just
when I played them on Telesharp, which I mean it's a handful. It's been a couple games, but I like to try to queue into them just because I've never, it's like, hey, let's see what
it's good to
people
get
are
reps
doing.
into them, right?
Well, just when you're fucking off, and they're pretty decent. There's a lot of like good cards that you don't get to see very much because not many people are playing the axes. Like Spill
Blade
Blood,
Runner still hit it.
Spill Blood, dude. Spill Blood is a filthy card. Like that card is really, really strong. It's just you don't
Spill
ever
Blood?
get to.
Yeah, the axes have a lot of really fucking strong like reactions and actions for them, but nobody uses axes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it just really comes out of left field, and I honestly think Overpower is a better card into the axes than most of the other weapons.
Which one? The
Overpower. So the red one gives it I think it's +4, and then Reprise +2. So it's a 6 buff attack reaction. Although it does cost
for 3.
3.
Yeah.
But that's 3 for 6.
That's still so fucking strong.
Yeah, that's great.
The blue Overpower is what I feel like you just die to all the time.
Yeah, I mean it's a blue card that's an overpowered blue card. So when you're pitching that and you're going to end game,
Is it +4? The blue's +4.
+4. It's just good.
Yep, very strong.
Good. But why don't we get right into our main topic here?
I mean, we can kind of just talk. I guess we were already talking about warriors. We can kind of just start with like the WTR heroes, I guess, or classes, I should say. But in terms of like flavor, I might relate some of these to like with Fab. Whenever I'm trying to sell someone on Flesh and Blood, I try to like tell them like, do you like RPGs? Is one of the first things I ask. Role playing games. Skyrim, World of Warcraft, that type of shit.
Yep.
You build your character, you have your armor pieces, you loot the world, and but with Flesh and Blood, it is very much an RPG designed into a card game.
Yeah.
One of the first things that sold me on it was that armor suite. When I saw you could have a head, chest, arms, and legs, take my fucking money. Take my fucking money. I can just choose my armor. And then bring other pieces that I might need for the fight. Like, it just felt so much like World of Warcraft to me. So I was sold just based on that theme alone. And with a lot of these classes, when you play them, like, the themes and the flavor of the class really does translate through playing the game.
Really does.
And, yeah, just wanted to touch a little bit on that. So let's just start with Warriors. I guess you could kind of go or start us off with Warriors, Josh. How do you think, or what is their overarching theme, would you say?
So for warriors, I mean, for me, in RPGs, I've always been a big like warrior, base your thing really off of like your weapons and how power they are, and that's really what warrior's goal is just how strong can you make your weapon, and how big of an attack can you make your weapon in a turn. Bolton kind of goes off that beaten path a little bit just because he has those attack actions with the light to buff your soul.
He definitely cares about his weapon less.
So it is a little bit different with him specifically, but I mean, as in Olympia, I mean, most of the time you're kind of basing it off of your weapons. Dory, 100% off your weapon.
Yes.
You are not running attack actions except for one nourishing in that deck. And Kasai, I mean, you could run some attack actions, I guess, but then again, it's still the 3 nourishing plan, doing her ability, and really basing off of that blood on her hands weapon turn, where you're swinging your weapon 4 times. Thematically, they have a bunch of different weapons. So they got the 2-handed axes, they got the 2-handed swords, one-handed
they
swords.
have like a real arsenal to choose from, it feels like.
It's a wide spread, and you can really
Love that
range how you want to build your deck, which I love about Warriors. It is a very different feel play than I will say any other hero in the game, for sure, other than like Ranger. But
I would say it's one of the more flexible classes too.
It is,
in terms of just how you build it.
It is
picking your weapon. You know,
you really just base it on like what style you like, and each style has their own benefits to like certain cards, like Felling Swing. We've been saying, and with like Dawn Blade with Dory.
Which is a 2-hander.
Which is a 2-handed weapon.
Well, it just goes to show like the different, like how much of a difference. Like same class, they care about their weapons, but a dual wielding warrior versus just a 2-hander, like very different. Very different.
Completely different play styles too. Because you're going with the dual wielding. I feel like you're going more aggro.
You're relying on go again more, yeah.
Yes, and it's with the single one. You're just trying to buff like as much as you possibly can.
Yep.
Like in Dory, you want to be going twice if you can, to get those counters if you can hit. But once you have a significant amount of counters, as in like 3, and your weapon's at 6, just base, unreal. Unstoppable almost.
Yeah,
but
I would agree. I also like to think too with Warriors, like it feels kind of like you're sword fighting with the reactions.
It is.
Like you do a thing, your opponent might do a thing, and you're like, haha, I also have a thing that I'm doing after your thing. Like you're really reacting to their kind of moves, it feels like, or you're kind of going through the motions of sword fighting, if you will. Like it. That's
one thing I will say about Warriors is that like I'm a big poker guy. Love poker. And to be a warrior, you have to have a poker face. Like 100%.
There's definitely a ton of posturing where you're just like, oh, yeah, I fucking have it. You don't have it.
No, you're just like trying to fuck with
them.
them.
To be fair, if you courage me and throw one sword and keep a grip and a card in arsenal, I'm just going to assume that that's going to be a whale of an attack.
Yeah.
And it's the equipment suite alone.
I was
is
just about to say,
different
Josh,
too.
You literally just plucked that from my brain.
They're
like a warrior should be. They're very capable of defending. They have great equipment and armor, to choose from that all block very well. Very just like an all-around, well-rounded hero.
It is.
Which generally warriors are in most RPG fantasy-style games out there.
Yeah.
They're kind of your jack of all trades,
I will say if you're like just getting into the game, a warrior class is definitely a good class to learn because it just teaches you a lot of different aspects of the game, as in blocking, as in your reaction phase.
Helps you with the steps of a turn, I think, very well.
It really does. Yep. And I mean, I'm not saying if you play warrior, you're a beginner player. I'm not saying that at all. It's just you learn very much about Flesh and Blood and the mechanics of it playing a warrior. So if you're getting into it, I would direct you towards a warrior, in my personal opinion.
Yep.
I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a great starting class to start with. There's 4 different heroes to choose from. We've got Bolton, Dory, Kasai, and Olympia.
I think starting on warriors valid.
They have a low floor but a high ceiling, where it's just like a very easily accessible class for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that new chess piece too that they got is like
grains.
God, the grains.
Yeah, man.
Grains is good. I've yet to get one of those. I
really?
Still need one so bad.
Oh wow. Well, I'll let you use mine if you ever need it for like PQ.
Valid.
If you still don't have one.
Valid.
I might be using it on this Bolton list.
Nice.
Over like Tunic or
people are just playing it over Tunic because like why not? You can activate it twice. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
Fucking A.
I'm using the
first time someone did that on me. I'm like,
the Soul Bond
nice.
Resolve.
That's why they do it.
Currently, because it's the same like 2-block temper.
Yep.
Soulbound's good.
Yeah. But I don't know. I kind of like the idea of having what's the token of vigor. It just lets me do more with my like yellow pitches too, because like it still runs a lot of those in the deck. I can like axe off of a yellow with the vigor. Grains is nuts.
Grains is just good.
So to kind of just conclude on warrior, it's kind of hard to like identify these classes with archetypes in the game, like aggro
warriors are
and
definitely
control.
like fighters.
No, they are, but I meant more of like the
you're
guess
talking
TCG
like the,
terms.
yeah,
like
okay,
you know, you
not
have your
like
aggro
the
decks and
actual,
your
like, RPG.
control decks. Like you definitely can play fatigue warriors, as Bailey told us earlier. You can build them a little more aggressive. I would say they fit right into your mid-range class. They are your typical, like, perfectly well-rounded, well-balanced mid-range. They can have the turns where they take some damage and, you know,
Dish
really
it right
pressure
back.
you, you know, with a route and a freaking Iron Song. And, I mean, but, yeah, I would just say if you like kind of just... You know, I wouldn't say warriors really have too many weaknesses. You know,
I'd agree with that.
like I said, they're kind of just very well
kind of
rounded.
like jack of all trades, master of none.
If you like that kind of thing, I think warrior would be perfect for you. Let's move on to brutes, though. Do you want to kind of head this one off, Cliff? I know you're kind of our brute aficionado. What does brutes? What do brutes offer in terms of thematics in Flesh and Blood?
Rage.
Yeah,
they
that's
offer
good.
rage and violence.
Yep.
They're very
Big,
much
huge
about
attacks.
just trying to
Arg,
big
smash.
swing. They're just trying to push as much damage as possible, and the theme is they don't have to do it efficiently for it to be good.
No, they just gotta swing big and take you to Pound Town, man.
Nowadays, though, I mean,
Exactly.
these brutes are pretty fucking efficient. You know,
They are.
Especially in seeing KO. KO is very consistent, very efficient. Just that ability to have that blue 5 power turn into a 6 power for your discards, just it's great. It's kind of insane.
Mm-hmm.
So you see KO just doing the very consistent, trying to throw the probably 2 consistent 6 power attacks and maybe a claw if they can a turn. Maybe a little bit more than that for the might discards, but
Yeah.
on average, you're going to see KOs pushing that 14 to 16, just pure consistent damage.
Yeah.
Reinar is about making you hate your life trying to block him. He's going to rip random cards out of your hand, and if he rips one of your defense reactions, that really does suck. When I was playing Drew the other day, I got his Trounce 2 turns in one game. Just intimidated the Trounce away when he was on Victor.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that works.
So it can make it really difficult trying to block him, but he's still going to be coming in big. So his whole shtick is he's going to come in big, and he's going to make it really difficult in order to block it effectively.
Yeah, the keyword intimidate is pretty like spot on, and like you said, rage. Like I think that's very spot on. The brutes right now are all kind of like orcs. You know, if you're a World of Warcraft fan, you know, like I was always I played Horde, and I mean I picked orc almost always in terms of like the race I chose. I loved orcs or trolls, but one of the first things with Reinar when I saw him, I'm like, oh, an orc, let's go. Like I tried him out when this was way back before even Crucible.
You really identify with. I get it.
Yeah. Tell it's my wife, dude. You probably agree. Fuck. But no, the funny thing about Reinar, I thought, was like it always seemed like when you wanted to play a good card, it would like you would go down a card, right? You'd have to discard. So it's almost like you are starting with like 3 cards instead of 4, or like you have access to 3 instead of 4. So he's kind of like starting with an IP3 almost every turn. So he truly is like a dumber kind of character, or it feels like he's just kind of like, you know, has less options, you know. So that kind of like came through in playing him. You know, he's got the romping club. It's just a club with bones and teeth and shit all over it. Like very brutish. Loved
and very awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Romping Club is the MVP of that deck, in my opinion.
Yep. I would say the outlier of brutes is definitely Levia. She is the shadow brute. So she's trying to like play demons from her banish zone, sort of, or she attacks from her banish zone. And a lot of the art are like scary monster, crazy Leviathan, you know, things with tentacles and shit. So if you're into that kind of thing,
Joke's on you. I'm into that shit.
yeah, I know. I was gonna say Bailey. She's right there, ready for you to just take her out for a spin, dude.
Nah, Vincent, man.
Yeah, I know.
I'm all about that Dommy mommy life.
Oh shit.
Man, I've had some fucking zingers.
Yeah, that's a good one.
No, I will say Levia is definitely the outlier, like you were saying. She can put out some freaking massive damage, but the scariest thing is that you are your own worst enemy in that matchup, and it's not just one; it's every single matchup.
Yep, Levia has a mechanic built into her called Blood Debt. Well, her cards have Blood Debt, and you have to banish a 6 power card from your graveyard every turn to basically turn her ability off, or turns her ability on, whatever way it is.
Turns her ability off.
Right.
Well, the Blood Debt. It turns the ability on, but turns Blood Debt off.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So you don't suffer any damage at the end of your turn.
I played Levia a handful of times, and I haven't touched that deck ever since I took like 20 Blood Debt damage at an armory, and I was like, fuck this.
Yeah. You see
She's a lot more consistent now.
It happens less, nowadays with the demi hero and stuff, but a good way to just beat a Levia was to force cards out of her hand into the game, and she wouldn't have that card to
it was a really good way to beat a Levia.
That was the one thing about like Dory that I really liked into that matchup was like you can fake it, like we were saying, with Warrior and make them drop their whole hand, and if they do, they're taking even more damage on that turn.
Yeah.
Than what you would almost put out yourself. So it's just it's scary to play that deck. Even with the demi hero, we were saying like you do have a little bit better variance in your hand, but you still have to hit that 8 or 11 life, I think is the other one, right?
It's 13.
13 and 8?
I thought it was like 13 and 7 or 6. I don't fucking know.
I
know one of them is 13.
One of them's like a whole like 666 theme.
Yeah.
Isn't it 6?
There was some 666 theme.
Oh, what?
No, there was. No, there was with her. There was like
in my Christian card game. Get the fuck out of here.
Is that a Blasphemous? That's the 666?
Yeah, maybe. It's one of the demons. Like their power is 6, their life is 6,
Power
and their
of
cost
Christ
is
compels
6, right? Something like that. It's
is
the new one.
Blasphemous.
No, I think it's maybe the new one. But in Nazareth. But anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So brutes, I would say brutes are more so aggro than anything. You can definitely play them more mid range too, and they can block. They can block all right. They have access to good blocks and stuff. They have access to one of the better blocks in the game, in my opinion, in Reckless Swing. Can't tell you how many times I've lost a fucking Reckless Swing playing brutes. That is a D-React that just deals 2 damage to your opponent.
It's just
if you
good.
discard a 6. Yeah,
it's good.
But yeah, I don't think you really play them like as a fatigue. They're not really like a true fatigue or control type deck. They're more pedal to the metal and try not to stop. I don't think they necessarily like blocking. They definitely can if they need to, but brutes, I would say, are kind of more aggressive.
That's the other thing is like some of their cards don't even block. So that's the scary thing about them as well.
Definitely. All right, any more thoughts on brutes?
The theme of them just being very rageful and angry and just go.
Yes.
And the no block
really
cards are the ones you want to attack them with. Like Wild Ride, Bear Fangs, you wouldn't want to block with those.
No.
For the most part, anyways. You'd hold on to those and try to play them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always said that like the no block on those are kind of like a little misleading because, like you said, Cliff, like you just aren't going to block with them anyways. So like giving them no block kind of doesn't matter until it does matter, you know?
Yep.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
High risk, high reward.
Yep. Okay, cool. I think that covers brute.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to Guardians, the true tanks of the game. If you like tanks in World of Warcraft, which, I was a big fan of paladins and shit and tanks, man, I was a big Guardian guy there for a while. This was like, I say this, so this was like before you guys even knew me. like I said, before Crucible. Like, I loved Guardian.
Pretty much
I only had the 8 heroes to choose from. So, like, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
loved Guardian. I loved Brute. This was back when me and Clicks were jamming games, for hours every day for, a few months there. But, That was about the only time I really played Guardian. I brought Oldhim a couple times to our early Blitz events. If you guys remember,
I know you were on Bravo for a little bit. After Oldhim.
Yeah, I did bring him to a CC event.
A couple of them, I think. It was you and Tucker had a few slog fests. One would say Anathos coming in hot.
Oh my God, he beat me in a very close, crazy Bravo mirror early on at the shop.
Yep.
1-1, fucking wild game.
It just
can't even remember the game, but I know it was fucking crazy.
I remember. That's why I know that you played Guardian a lot.
Yep.
But why don't you lead us off? You two.
I guess Bailey's kind of more of a Guardian guy than me, I would think, though.
Yeah, no, they definitely fill that like tank kind of archetype.
Yep.
Not so much like Paladin style.
We don't really have a Paladin quite yet.
I fucking wish.
We'll get one. Light Guardian.
But they're super comfortable just sitting behind their like little shield wall. I mean, you can ping off of them all you want. You're not going to do anything if they don't want you to take damage. Like, it's insane. Their blocks are very efficient. Every once in a while, they might poke over and just bop you with a hammer. And, I mean, for the most part, especially with like the old Guardian styles, you were definitely playing that long game, that like fatigue kind of game plan.
Best blocking class, right?
I will say until Star of the Show came out, that was just a whole different breed.
Yeah, I don't even think you consider him a Guardian.
No, he was.
Well, I don't know.
Stupid.
Yeah, he played like high cost attacks, but
he could block if he needed to because he had the Crown of Seeds. He had the Pulse of Iceloft. He also had the Stalagmite, which I mean you can block, but his main goal was just throw an attack and then throw your Icy Hammer.
The thing that made him not feel like a Guardian to me, like his ability gave the plus and the dominate, but the go again, like
was unreal.
Guardians don't have go again.
No.
That's kind of another thing that leads me to my next point. Is like Guardians, for the most part, they attack on a one action axis, if you will. Like they just do one thing every turn. Sometimes you will see Guardians run cards like Zealous Belting and E-Strike, and that will just kind of like throw an attack behind their next attack. So they do have a little go again, or they have access to some go again, but for the most part, Guardians are happy to just attack one time per turn. So if you're into like attacking with a huge 14 dominate, on hit,
it definitely takes setting
Guardian
up
is your
for the go
sauce.
Again.
Yep.
I mean, as in like your rouses, like you're saying, and
you just usually pitch those though to the end, and like you just make sure some high cost blues like Cranioles and stuff like that. Now they have all sorts of high cost blues now with heavy hitter
Macho,
high power
Thunderquake.
I meant high power blues.
Yep.
Would you say like the best blocking hero or like most defensive hero?
Without a doubt.
Class?
Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
We've got Bravo, Betsy, and Victor as our only Guardians right now in CC.
And that's the Guardians today are definitely way more aggro now.
I think so. They're just you didn't see them being played aggressively like that back in the day. That's for sure. It was definitely like if you played a Bravo or a Guardian, you were kind of knew you were about to get fatigued,
Sitting down across from like an old hammer of Bravo, you were in for the long game.
Yep.
And now some of those games are over in like fucking 4 or 5 turns. They just smack you.
Yep. I would say you definitely still can play them very defensively. Like there's fatigue decks out there that, like I just played against a Bravo. I'm talking yellow staunch Bravo, like staunch response.
Gotcha.
No, I mean like the whole deck was fatigue. So I mean they're still out there, and I think that's how they truly like entered the game. Like it was your real first like true fatigue deck. You could really learn the game and learn blocking by playing Guardians. You learn how to block a lot better. So yeah, like I think the archetype overall for Guardians, or I guess the theme would just be kind of like that huge tank, like the guy that Leroy Jenkins that shit and runs in there. He's your front line, and they're hard to kill, man. I can't tell you how many times I've played against Guardians where you're at the end of the game, you're drawing all your blues, you realize you're like, well, they got me because I just like fell into their trap of not really pitch stacking for late game, and you're just applying all the reds as they come instead of planning for, the fatigue plan. What would you say the biggest difference from these three guardians are, though? Like, I know Betsy has the overpower versus Bravo's dominate, and Victor kind of plays a total different game than both of them. So there are some differences, but for the most part, they all are looking to have efficient blocks and then have like overrate attacks, with on hits.
Yeah.
But if you were to
I think even like with the differences, they still all just do that.
Yeah.
So well in their own kind of way.
Yep. How do you even pick I don't know if Betsy's on the table, but how do you pick between Bravo and Victor?
Betsy is the fucking table.
Nah, dude. Yeah. Betsy, she just utilizes the big auras with Thump. That's all she does.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Betsy's good in Blitz for sure. CC, oof. She does have 2 points, so can't say much. Teklo does not.
Easy. Easy. We're still in the lab, okay? We're getting things together, Josh. We're getting the list a little.
Are we brewing? Are we stirring the pot?
Tony Stark built
I'm gonna try my hardest.
With a box of scraps. For a lot less time than Teklo, and Betsy still came out ready.
Yeah.
Hey, Teklo's just in the fucking slow cooker, man.
You guys just wait.
Yeah, he is.
He's just fucking simmering.
Nah, he's just slow.
All right, well, I guess that probably just concludes our Guardians. Let's move on to Ninjas.
Have any of us really played Ninjas,
Nope.
like at all?
Nope.
Josh.
I have.
Not.
That's kind of what I started
Fi
on.
doesn't count.
I started on
does.
Katsu.
Fi counts.
No.
I started on Katsu.
I think Fi feels more like a ninja would to me than Katsu sometimes. With the ability of, or it's like the it's like the death by 1,000 cuts thing, Like Fi really feels like that, where you're really going wide and you're like attacking with all these small little attacks. Whereas Katsu's more reliant on like having the combos and having certain things hit and like finding your opportunity to like go off and like finding that window in the Katsu game is like a puzzle. Whereas Fi is just like, I'm gonna go as wide as I can every turn, no matter what, and I don't care. Like, that's just it. Where you have to care a little more with Katsu.
With Katsu, for sure.
Both aggro decks, though.
Just pumping out as much damage as possible.
I will say, one of the early Katsu decks, though, that was successful was a fatigue Katsu deck, because Kodachis were very, like, annoying in the fatigue game.
Dylan.
Yeah, he played fatigue Katsu for a long time.
He definitely dabbled in the Ninja Turtle, for sure.
Ninja Turtle, that's right. That's what they called it. Yep, you're right.
But I will say, like, the Kodachi lock was absolutely disgusting. And early iterations of Katsu, after more heroes came into the game and more classes, kind of fell off the map until, I wouldn't even say Everfest. Because Everfest only gave him...
probably when he came back to the forefront with bonds and stuff.
Because as soon as Fi came out, Fi was just hands down the way better deck.
Fi was the ninja.
Blitz, Ira was one of the grossest heroes in Blitz, for sure. Just even her +1 on your second attack was disgusting. Like, the ability with it and everything.
Just mini Starvo.
Yeah, it's just good. Benji, being in Blitz where you can't block 2 attacks from hand. Mm-hmm. Good.
Yep.
But there's not much more you can really say about Ninja other than big aggro.
Go wide. I think big, like the biggest arcing thing about them would be to go wide. They just like to go wide, do as many attacks as they can. If you like low cost curves as well, they're they can really function on 1 blue. Mm-hmm. Fi especially can function on even less. Like a lot of times Fi will just have a bunch of 0 cost reds and their hand is great. But I think I would liken them to like rogues and stuff like that. Like in RPG games, if you like rogues, with the dual wielding daggers, like, I guess Kodachis are technically swords, but I think they're
daggers. Kodachis are daggers.
In the game, even they're called daggers.
Yep. No, they're swords.
They're daggers.
Dude, why do I feel like we've looked this up before on the pod?
Because we have, and I know they're daggers.
I know. I'm like having deja vu, and it's just you just have such a smirk on your face. While Josh, it is a dagger. It is a dagger, Bailey.
That's stupid.
Told you I play Katsu, bro.
No, but I guess like the big difference between the two, I guess, like I was saying with Katsu, is he cares about comboing a lot more, right? Like his cards actually have the word combo on them, so if you play them in a certain sequence, you'll get an ultimate benefit from that. So if you're into that kind of thing, I know Dylan loves Katsu for that reason. You know, the idea that you can play these cards in a certain sequence to have this awesome payoff is. It's hard to do for one, and it feels very like rewarding when you can do it with Katsu, I think. Whereas Fi is just more like I'm gonna just push as much damage. My cards are all basically like on the face. Like there's no tricks Fi is doing that, or for the most part, you know. They are very few tricks. Fi is just kind of all face up on the table. Here's my damage. Can you stop it? No? Okay, I win. Like that's Fi.
That's what
I think Fi is a great deck for players to start in. I always try to like recommend playing Fi to new players. It's very linear. It's very easy to learn.
It is. The one thing about Fi is that you don't learn blocks.
I would agree with that.
You do not.
I would agree with that. And I think that's one of the bigger things in the game that you see new players struggle with is blocks and like
that's
learning.
One thing I would value more in the game than just like learning, just attacking. Like, yeah, you can pick up wins with Fi. Like, regardless, you're going to pick up wins. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if you're playing somebody like Bravo, that's a defensive Bravo, or even like a Riptide, where they're defense reactioning everything, it's rough.
Yeah,
it's hard for the player, or even Teklo, hard. I will say Katsu is just way more versatile. You have a lot more options. But
with the ninja class too, like one last thing I'll say about them, I guess, is like the +1 they always do to you. It always seems like they get over on you, that +1, they hit, and then like it all hell breaks loose, you know? So it really does feel like they're kind of cutting you that last time in a fight. Like, right, you're fighting a ninja, right? And you're fighting, and then they like get you that last time, and you're like, oh no, you bastard! And then they go off and do their mask and blah 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 blah, and then it's like. You almost always have to overblock ninjas by one is kind of what I found. Like Dylan and I's games are always funny because like every surging strike he'll throw at me, I'll block for 6, and he's just like, man, why you gotta do that? And it's like, hey man, like
I feel like it's really hard for some people to like comprehend. Like if you block the first one first, like their big first attack, it's way more valuable than blocking the second. In my opinion.
If they have like a 5-card hand, I'm happy to block the whelming that they go grab.
If they throw surging strike, whelming,
if they have a grip, right? If they have like a total grip and like they have to discard a card to go get it, I'm happy to block the whelming. I have found that like you can get caught in the trap of always blocking surging, and most of the time it's right to block surging. But like when they have a ton of cards and they have to discard to go get the whelming, and then you just block that with the cards you would have blocked surging with, you kind of like even out a little bit
because they're losing card in hand. Yep.
And so like, but like again, like they have to have a big enough hand for me to like justify that one. But for the most part, I'm always blocking surging strikes or like the second Kodachi if you can. Or there's different things like that with Katsu where if you don't know those little blocking, tricks or whatever, that they'll just eat you alive. Yeah. All right, you guys kind of good with ninjas? You guys want to move on to rangers? Bailey, you want to...
This is all 3 of your guys' domain.
Yeah, I know. I guess me and Bailey were big Azalea guys, and Cliff...
You were Lexi.
Yeah, I was Lexi for sure.
And then Cliff's Rip.
Yep.
So we got the trifecta here, to be honest.
Well, Cliff, why don't you go ahead with some Riptide? What I guess thematically, Riptide is much different than the other Rangers.
Big time.
Very.
They all feel like hunters to me in World of Warcraft. Yeah, because hunters did have
Riptide,
traps. They did have arrows, and
what Riptide feels like is he kind of feels like the Rangers to Rangers almost, like the Guardian Ranger, because he's got all these traps that he likes to ping you with, and they're sneaky, and then he'll still throw some of the arrows with on hits, right, just to kind of. Make it difficult to block, do things. I think the real flavor in Riptide, though, is the interplay with his specializations.
Yep.
That's the real flavor, where he's very kind of sneaky, you know?
Yeah.
He honestly feels a little bit like a serial killer playing the deck.
He fucking looks like one, bro.
Yeah, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy, right?
Yeah. He almost seems like
That's
a brute.
what he kind of feels like.
He seems
a
like
little bit. He's like a brutish ranger, but way more defensive than either. At least for the thematic build on him.
I liked it.
He's super fun though.
When they revealed him, or like his character, like aesthetically, I thought it was very like awesome that they would kind of have this ranger be very atypical of what you'd think a ranger would be. You know, rangers are generally, you know, more slender and more agile, while you got Riptide, who's, you know, belching and ripping ass, and he's got gas and shit coming from all these pores out of, like, he just looks gross, you know, just like, but I loved it. I loved the idea that he's like throwing traps out there to trap your opponent and have all these different detrimental effects on them by triggering the traps, right, or getting caught in the traps.
Like if they made a fisherman class, Riptide.
Well, I think that's the idea. He's sort of like a fisherman, right? He's like a, or yeah, I don't know. He's got those weird meat hook things.
Whole-ass fisherman class.
I will say though, Bailey tuned me on to something, so we're in the works of cooking something up on Riptide.
Nice. What, you gonna share? Or are you gonna keep that secret, or
nope.
what? Oh, okay.
Nope. Right. We're cooking this on the side for now.
I see how you're gonna do me.
We'll reveal the pot when it's ready.
Gotcha.
This one's a secret. Okay.
Well, Bailey, how about Azalea? How does Azalea feel?
But we'll talk after the pod.
Okay. How does Azalea feel in play as a ranger?
She's kind of, I don't know. I think Ty kind of described it perfectly with Ninja. She's very much got that like rogue like kind of feel to her. She's very like sneaky with the on hits and everything like that. They're still kind of like that mid range, especially with all of like the new traps we got out of Outsiders. Like you still can play like a somewhat defensive game plan. You're not probably blocking anything out by any stretch of the imagination, but least like
she hates blocking for the most part.
But she's very, very fun.
Yeah,
pushing all the on hits.
She was one of my very first heroes I ever played.
Same.
One of the main reasons, I think I've said this also before on the pod, but one of the main reasons that really drew me to her was like playing the deck, doing all of the motions.
Oh, thematically, it feels very much like a ranger.
Activating her, flipping the top card into your. I mean, there's so much movement and so much
arrows from your arsenal with the bow.
It feels like work, right? Like every turn, there's just so much shit going on that it felt like you were actually knocking arrows and letting them go at your opponent.
That was like the most fun part of the deck, picking it up too. It was like, oh, I get to like see what's on top now, and like I get to move things around.
Honestly, like I think Azalea and playing Azalea was like feeling the way that it felt like I was playing a ranger, right? Like that, I think more than any other class, really. Maybe Prism as illusionist really feels like you're playing an illusionist, but like, I think like playing Azalea and me thinking about how like it really does translate in the cards is kind of what led me to this topic overall.
Yep.
That was my immediate first thought too when he brought it up. I was like, fucking Rangers.
Yeah, she really does feel like you're playing a ranger, like I said, or like you have a bow and your cards are you know, or your deck is shooting arrows.
Absolutely nailed the design from like a thematic standpoint with rangers.
Which is like, it's like so challenging, right? Isn't that just like, I was thinking about that too. Like how challenging would it be to design a card game and actually have the cards like feel flavorful and feel like you're doing the thing they're supposed to be doing, you know? And they kind of nail all of them.
Balanced within like all of the other classes.
That's the other part.
But for the most part, they do a really fucking good job of it.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I think Fab right now is like one of the more balanced card games. Well, okay, so I don't know if like balance is even the right word, but like where we are in the meta and like having the ability to pretty much play anything you want outside of maybe a few choices like Teklo and Riptide. Like, I mean, shit, even Riptide, dude. Like, Riptides can beat decks. Like they actually can. Like the deck is not bad.
That's the crazy thing about Ranger is like each one I feel like does play it differently in every single aspect. As in Azalea's more of that like dominate kind of a bigger swing in a turn. Where Riptides, you're blocking a little bit more while pinging damage. And then you got Lexi, when she was top of the meta, just straight aggro.
Just absolutely slinging arrows.
Yeah, just straight
everywhere.
I love the idea with these laces, too, where there's these new pumps that are laced with blood rot, laced with inertia, laced with frailty. And in the art, like, it really looks like they're putting...
They're dipping.
Oh yeah, they're like dipping their arrows.
They're dipping their arrows in these
and...
diseases, and you're shooting like that too. Thematically, was just like chef's
Beautiful.
Kiss. I was just like, oh, dude, this is great.
That's you got like poison the tip and like things
that's
like
what
that.
drew me to build a Riptide. As soon as Riptide came out in Outsiders, was just like thematically with the card art and everything in it, just looked great, and it made so much sense.
We still gotta get Farbs on that Azalea.
He sold his
Does
great
he
bow.
even play fucking Fab anymore?
Barely.
Yeah.
His deck that he only played with against Cliff was what, the band Kasai Cliff?
Yeah, his Blitz Kasai deck.
Not even the new Kasai. Yeah.
Was he pissed? Was he like,
we've
"What
told
the
him
fuck?"
several times, and he just doesn't care.
But I guess if you're playing at home, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I mean we're not gonna.
They give a fuck. They still won't let me play my fucking old him and my Icelander.
Oh yeah, is that like house band?
It's bullshit, is what it is.
Yes. Icelander and Oldham are banned whenever I'm playing at my house.
I want to have fun.
That's funny. I should make that rule.
I just pretty much, as soon as my hero gets banned, I deconstruct the deck so fast it's not even funny. It's like I don't even want to.
Oh,
like,
every single one of
up until like a month ago, I still had Lexi put together.
Did you?
Yeah.
It's funny because like even my Prism deck is put together and is in sleeves.
Oh,
well, like I have them all foiled. So,
Yeah.
like, I can't really, like, de-sleeve them and put them anywhere because, like, the decks are foiled.
Yep.
Like, my Icelander deck.
You just got to build a shrine to all of your, like, LL
Well,
decks.
it kind of made me think, like, I have these decks, all these LL decks now, and they're all foiled out and cold foiled out and everything's, like... But, like, what do I do with them? I don't really want to sell them. I'm not using them. Because, like, if I ever show up to an LL tournament or play LL, I'm going to want, like, my flashy...
Yeah.
So, like, I'm in this weird spot where, like, I'm trying to, like, consolidate a bunch of my collection. I'm trying to sell some shit, right? Making some moves in real life. So I'm trying to like accumulate some money with all this crap I have. And it's like, I don't really fucking feel like I want to sell these decks. You know, it was like, I was looking through my Prism deck and all those cold foil auras, you know, it's probably like hundreds and hundreds of dollars there. And it's like, I don't know, I could easily just sell them and play the non-foils or even just regular foils. But it's like,
Still.
Yeah, it's tough.
Especially with this game too. It's like, I don't know, I think we all have a very big attachment to it. Like, I still have my Starvo deck built for when Living Legend becomes, like, a more sanctioned event. Like, you can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Nah, that's
But
going to be a
this-
fucking shop ban. Get that shit out of here.
Woof. Woof. Well, technically, you can play any hero, so. Stubby's Fi it is.
Stubby's 5, baby.
But, any other things that we got a little off topic there, but any other things you guys want to conclude?
Go off the rails.
Conclude.
Well, you kind of mentioned something about how like when you're deck LLs, and like part of this episode too, like I kind of wanted to try to give like a not so much a comprehensive guide and go like deep dive into each of these classes, but I think in Fab, like if you don't love your deck or you don't love what your deck's trying to do, unless you're just kind of a one of those XP grinders that just play the best deck, and that's fine. I'm not like ripping on those players. Like if you want to play the best deck because you just want to win, by all means do that. I just think
at the end
majority.
of the day, it's still a competitive game.
100%.
The goal is to win.
I'm not saying that kind of came off like I was like talking shit about that type of player. I am not at all. I mean, for most of my card gaming career was that player. It was up until Standard Magic where I was just like I would just build. I started to become a brewer and build shit just off the meta and off. Just to try to see if I could compete with the meta. But honestly, it feels like Tekla with me right now. Like it feels like the same type of thing I used to do back in Magic. But I think when your hero gets LL'd, you tend to look for a deck that speaks to you on a thematic level. What sounds fun, what looks fun. Oh, I want to do this new thing Vincent does because I like the idea of summoning demons through a portal with her rune gating. Like very awesome for that type of thing.
Yeah, what can I say? Whips and chains exciting.
I mean, no, that leads me into our next class, which would be Runeblade. And I will let you lead the discussion, Bailey, with rune blades and the overall theme with rune blades.
Yeah, the only rune blade I really have a whole lot of experience with is Vincent.
Yeah.
I wasn't around much for Chain. I got in like right as he was LLing, and I was watching all the Chain players wander around like lost souls, not knowing. Speaking of LL, not knowing what to do, man, they look so fucking lost. But, anyways, I'm going off the rails now. Briar, all of those Tails heroes really just don't fit into like what their class represents.
Yeah, all the rune blades so far have been kind of different. They've all been like
very different.
It's hard to like put the rune blades into one box.
I guess like the mix between physical and arcane is one of the obvious ones, I would think. Like all rune blades do arcane damage plus physical damage, as if like their sword is somehow enchanted with like magic. They kind of are the magic sword wielders of Fab. Vincent doesn't feel like that though.
No, Vincent.
She feels like a true demon summoner.
She's not like
or
a
something.
Summoner though.
No,
like,
but
they're not summoned. I think
the rune gate.
The rune gate.
It's the
ones
word
are,
rune
yes,
gate, right?
yes.
That kind of leads me to believe like it feels like you're kind of banishing stuff from your hand, right? Beginning a turn, and then like, oh, if you have enough rune chance to like bring them through this gate, you can like summon the attack.
You got to pay the troll toll. And
exactly.
Then,
Well, wasn't Viscerai's whole thing about how he became what he is he made a deal with a demon?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his whole lore.
That's like his lore text, right? Yep. So it kind of feels like they are like channeling those unknown powers to do what they're doing with the flavor of the rune gates.
God,
and all that
can we get like
stuff.
a non-demon Viscerai?
Like a light Viscerai and a shadow Dory.
That would be.
Can you imagine Shadow Dorinthia and light Viscerai?
Did you just say the word I think you said?
Yeah.
No. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? No, stop.
No, it actually fits.
No,
it fits in the story, right? Because Viscerai like sold his soul to a demon, right? He's trying to like free himself from the demon, I believe.
Yep.
So he's gonna find
Sutcliffe,
his.
right?
He's gonna go on his. Yeah, he's gonna go on this. Well, that's who he like worked for.
Yep. That's who brought him to the demon.
But he's gonna like work towards
like a terrible idea.
Well, yeah, but he's like working towards his like path to redemption, right? Whereas Dory is like working for or like a part of Solana, and right now Solana's like controlling their people, and like I think the old or the ancient ones are behind what's happening in Solana. It feels a lot like the political structure in Solana is like very malevolent, and there's some bad shit going on, and they're being controlled by outside forces. Kind of, I mean, you see this in a lot of stories.
And that's supposed to be the peak of society.
Well, right. So like you could see maybe Dory like going into the shadows if that story ends up being kind of true and where it kind of is leading to be.
Yeah. But I mean,
anyways, again, we're talking about we're talking about Shadow Warriors.
Well,
and, like,
I mean,
what is happening right now?
It kind of fits though. Like rune blades are kind of that like funky like warrior, like they're not like
they're magic
wizard.
warriors.
Yeah.
They're battle mages.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I would liken them to. I when I thought of how you would place them in an RPG world, I would think battle mage. Right.
I just wish we got more reactions with them. Like I want like a true like weapon focused rune blade.
Mm-hmm. I suppose you're
more
right.
akin to like a warrior style like hero.
Yeah.
Like
So you want to see something like a dusk blade?
No, I just want to see like a weapon focused rune blade. Like you kind of like toss out most of the attacks, and it's a very like warrior esque like reactions and like actions, like pumping it up at the front. You still throw your like little mix of arcane in there. More like Galaxy Black style, right? Where it's like if you played like non-attack and something else.
I guess you could say that about Rosetta Thorn though, because you were definitely going for your Rosetta Thorn at the end of your chain every single turn. Like that was your key component. And if they didn't have AB2, fucked.
I remember like rune blades were kind of sold to us as like the magic warriors, like they James White kind of like I remember him talking about them as if they were like the rivals of the warriors in Fab. It's the warriors versus the rune blades kind of like throughout history, and they're like always warring, or they're warring factions, which is kind of cool.
It is
definitely cool flavor win right there. But yeah, outside of the arcane damage, I think Rune Blades, you can build them in a lot of different ways. Vincent offers you a more fatiguey kind of way. I don't know if you can really be blocking with her a lot though, right? Like
no, when you have to like start blocking with her, you're losing.
Okay. Because she came out and I remember thinking, oh, cool, we have like a tank Rune Blade. But
I'd say Viscerai was more of a tank Rune Blade.
He's the one that can kind of set up and fatigue you and then OTK you at the end.
Yep. Said it before, I'll say it again. That fucking required banishment just kills that play style. Like,
I could see that.
If you get stuck on turns where you like can't banish anything, or you can't like play what you've banished, you're done.
Yep.
And it's mainly the Rune Gate cards. If you get stuck without a Rune Gate card, or like I guess because she can't play Blood Debt from her banish like Chain could. Only like Ghostly.
Some of the
cards say it on it,
but
it's not like Chain where he could play it from banish no matter what.
Right.
But that's like she can still for the most part like operate off of like a 2-card hand.
Yep.
Right, you banish the one, you have like a 3 pitch to pitch to your grasp to get that second rune chant. You Rune Gate your card. Is predictable, but it's at least something.
Yep.
Whereas if you're just like banishing that card now with no way to play it, like
screwing you.
Yeah.
So you can definitely play. I think Rune Blade's a little tanky. The defensive Briar list that won Nats. Last year.
She kind of was like
of that.
both ends of the extreme. She was like our
you could play her aggro too.
For a while.
Briar,
she was like our premier like aggro Rune Blade. Like,
and even with Viscerai, like you can
like
truly fatigue
ninja.
You can truly fatigue your opponent. So I would say Rune Blades are very versatile in terms of like play style.
Very tanky. Most of their cards block for 3/2. It's just and they have
again,
a fridge.
It's like that warrior.
Yeah, they always have very good armor. It seems like.
Especially if you're in shadow.
It's annoying, honestly.
It is. It's really annoying.
Fucking Carrion Husk.
It's the dumbest. It's the dumbest equipment in the game, dude. Carrion Husk has always been like the bane of my existence. I hate that fucking card.
Even the new chess piece is disgusting.
Yeah.
2 temper with Arcane Barrier on it.
Oh, the Dyadic Carapace.
Yes, gross. It's so good.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to our next class. Next we have mechs, mechanologists. So I think we kind of know who can lead this one off, Mr. Clifford.
Yeah, go for it, Teklevasen.
Oh Jesus, I knew you were going to say that. I guess
you take that one. I'll take the others.
Yeah. We have 2 different dashes to choose from right now. We have Teklevasen and we have Max the Hype Nitro. Again, these all like play a bit different. I suppose one of the main things with mechs is they are very fast. They are very aggressive. You can truly play them at an aggressive level in this game. That it's probably one of the. If we're talking in terms of just like aggro decks, right? It's got to be like one of the A or S tier aggro decks if you build it to true boost. Maybe a little bit less items than Cliff's deck.
For 3 of them, yeah. For 3 of them, they're definitely
cut the yellow booms.
Go for it.
Yeah. The other thing too with mechs is they're always very adaptable. It seems a lot of different ways to build them. It feels a little bit like warriors to me, where like you can build item dash, you can build like I said boost dash, and then you have this weird deck called Teklevasen where like it doesn't do any of that. You're not really playing aggressively. You're not really playing items. You're playing evos, which I suppose are a form of permanence.
I would say he's a very guardian.
Yep, he feels more like a true fatigue guardian deck. And then he just has this really crazy payoff, And if you have enough life at the end when you reach your payoff, then it's very hard for you to lose that game. Mm-hmm. I have lost games where I've transformed. I've talked about them on this pod, and like. It always feels really bad when you do the work, you get there, you transform, and then you like stumble on like your pitch stack, or in my case, it was resolving a fucking remembrance and shuffling all my reds. But a lot of different ways to play mechs. I don't really know how to like give them. They're your true like. I mean, if you like gadgets and fucking you're like an engineer, you would love mechs. I feel like a ton of players like. That are into that type of stuff computer science and shit, mechs offer like that aesthetic. I think just very futuristic in the way that their armor is, and I mean she has a gun.
Yep.
She actually. Well, I say she, but any mech can play the gun.
Who brought a gun to a knife fight?
Well, that's what I mean. It was kind of weird. I remember thinking it was a bit weird when Dash, when I was like seeing Dash for the first time or like having the cards. I was like, okay, like they live in this place obviously that's a little bit more futuristic and more advanced than some of Wraith, but thematically, I think
they feel very steampunk.
Yeah. I think if you like playing a bunch of items and having them all work together in weird, crazy ways, like mechs are definitely your way to go. The boost mechanic is very generic. It doesn't really feel like a mech to me. You're just getting rid of a card in your deck to have go again. I guess that is kind of like feels like an engine almost. Like you're running out of steam as you go. Like your deck is the fuel source, and you are kind of. My buddy Johnny like kind of said that to me one time, and I thought that was cool. Where like your deck feels like the actual engine, and then like as the game goes on, you just run out of gas. Like, literally, because your deck is just you have no more steam left. And yeah, I think thematically that kind of sums up mechs. But again, like you just play them in so many different ways.
Yep, very versatile.
Cliff, any thoughts?
No, you kind of hit him on the head, actually. I really like that analogy for the deck being like an engine.
Yep.
Where, if it's tuning up, it's just going to keep cranking out the gas. But,
Well,
you get those misfires.
Yep. And look at the chess piece that you run. You're getting rid of 2 cards at that point. You're turning cards in your deck into resources. And, like, you can really burn your deck up, like, with the mechanics in mech. If you're not careful. Like, I know the item plan really doesn't care about boosting, and they just sit back and block, and they're able to play the fatigue game pretty well, actually. I think, like, honestly, mechs might have some of the most diverse, like, fatigue game plans of any class. Absolutely. With the items and the ability. They just have the ability to, like, play the fatigue game, and then also just on the, flip of a coin, they can just kind of play the aggressive, offensive game plan.
Yep.
A lot easier.
At least for the Dash Inventor Extraordinaire. If you see a Dash face up when you sit down at a table, you're not going to know if she's defensive or not until all the shit is revealed.
Yep.
So you can kind of get blinded or just hit from your blind spot for a deck that you're expecting, and then they flip over, the go again pistol shenaniganry, and it's like, I just sideboarded in for the aggro matchup, or vice versa.
Yeah, I'm very
Max. I still think is. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that Max is very similar to just the aggro dash, but his whole flavor is. He just feels like he's winging it as he goes, He's
trying to build a suit too, though, like Teklo. We should kind of maybe mention that about him and Teklo. They like have this game plan where they're trying to like build this like robot, sort of.
Yep.
Yeah, and Teklo feels like the original item, the real kingpin of this, and his kind of feels scrapped together. But when it's out, and it's a problem.
Dude, did you guys know that Teklo dies in the lore?
Yeah, he was dead.
Oh,
no, like he was like his
dead.
story was like before, I think,
most of it.
Yeah, wasn't he like killed by Max?
No.
No,
he
Max
just it's kind of like you don't really. I think it's left open ended, but it's not clear exactly what happens. But like I'm pretty sure like that the reason he's a shadow mech is because he maybe was like, I don't know, talking to like some demons maybe, and like trying to prolong his life, and then like meld with this AI thing, and like, his soul maybe would transfer into the thing, and he becomes the shadow mech that's like, invincible and.
Don't they still have some part of him in Teklo Fossen like Industries? Isn't there like still a piece of him there or something?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, but.
No, I read this piece of lore like weeks ago, and I had meant to bring it up to you guys, but just talking about the the suits right now with Max and him kind of reminded me of it. And
Yeah, no, he was.
I think you got that on the head. Because also look at the new Dash. The one that seems like a synthesis between Datadol and regular Dash Inventor Extraordinaire. So you probably just hit that lore right on the head for how he became the Shadow Mech.
Yep. I mean, yeah, why is he a shadow? That's just kind of out of nowhere. Like, and then like prolonging your life is always kind of like a sell your soul type of thing to the demon. To,
Shadow.
Yeah,
Doomsday and Teklevossen.
I thought it was so funny because like everyone was screaming from the rooftops about how cool Shadow Mechs would be, right? If you could have like a mechanologist that boosted into your banish that you could then play, like
we
chain.
It,
and then they gave us the Shadow Mech. That's not really like a Shadow Mech.
We got it, but we didn't get it.
So funny.
But why don't we get into the next class?
Yeah, we got 2 more classes. I know this is kind of a long one for us. Do we have 3 classes? Oh shit, am I missing one? You'll have to just give me the third then, because I'm missing one.
That's right.
All right,
just continue.
okay.
I'll give you.
You'll have to surprise me. What the fuck am I missing? All right, we'll go. Next we have Illusionist. Now, I did. Yeah.
I will sum it up in one sentence.
Wizard is on my last page.
Now you don't.
Yeah, that's a good one for Illusionist. So I played OG Prism for a long time, to like minor success. But the deck or class has a mechanic called Spectra, which, if you're unfamiliar with it, if you attack something with Spectra, the combat chain closes. You lose all instances of go again. It's very, very strong.
It's the most overpowered keyword
one
in
of
the
the
game.
Yeah, I would agree. And then a lot of times, if you just ignored their auras that had Spectra, like they would play these permanents called auras, kind of like enchantments if you're from the Magic world. And they would just have these small effects, but then prisms would use those auras to attack later on in the game, and they would turn them into weapons. So that was kind of like the offense and defense, kind of like yin and yang of it. And then, if you let the prisms or the illusionist build up these auras, or in Dromai's case, these dragons, like the games just snowball, and you just you kind of can't win at a certain point. So I would say, like, if you are into playing permanents and you come from Magic where you're building your board state, and I know with Flesh and Blood it's backwards, right? You start the strongest. There's really no board state you're building to. If anything, you're playing towards your second cycle or your pitch stack. But Illusionists, for the most part, have all been really good about permanents. They play the most permanents, I think, of any class. You can really truly build a board state with them. In Dromai's case, it really does feel like a creature based, where you get to summon all these dragons.
Yep.
And you really snowball with the dragons. I feel like
Prism had one of the most overpowered keywords in the game, but also had one of the worst keywords in the game, as in Phantasm. Because if you got your things popped.
Yep. Phantasm, yes. Phantasm is a keyword where if they block with an attack that has 6 or more power, you destroy the attack and chain closes.
Yep.
So you lose your action point. It is a way to balance illusionist. It also gives the feeling, of an illusionist, where you attack with this big thing, and then they block with this big attack as well, and then it your attack goes away or it disappears.
It fades,
it's a mirage, right? Like it's an illusion, right?
Yep.
Again, huge flavor win from LSS when they designed these things, because it truly feels like an illusion. Maybe a little less with Dromai and the Ash and stuff. But I suppose, lore-wise, she is summoning these dragons as illusions.
Yep.
They aren't actually dragons in the lore. I don't know if you didn't know that. But she's calling on the dragons of old when she's summoning these things, and making them into illusion, making them out of these ash tokens, in the actual story. But yeah, in terms of playstyle, definitely. I mean, I know Prism and Dromai, you can play aggro, and you can play both of them very defensively as well.
Absolutely. New Prism is, I feel like, a very more defensive Prism, and you're throwing out your...
I don't know, dude. The tomes and shit now, and all the go again they have with the new staff.
But
they can do both.
I'm just saying with your angels, they have ward. So it's if you're not utilizing your angels, they are block.
Yeah. they're actually attacking
defensive.
with their angels nowadays, though. Like whereas before they would just like be happy to flip it and take 4.
Let it go.
Yeah, like lose the 4 for gain 4 health, sort of.
You definitely have some of your angels that are definitely stronger than the other, but you still run, I would say, majority of all 8.
Yeah.
I mean, if not the main 6. You know.
Yeah. I would say illusionists are the closest thing we have to like clerics. We don't really have a priest or like a healer in the game, but just the idea of like summoning illusions, I think, is got that kind of like gives me like priest vibes or like a healer vibe, in RPG games. I guess Prism did like sort of heal. She didn't heal herself, I guess, but like the spectral shields and stuff are a form, and the ward is a form of like, it kind of gives that feeling of like, you healing yourself or protecting yourself, with these illusions. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I think flavor wise, one of the better classes that really shines through in the cards, when you're playing the decks. Really feels like some illusions and shit.
Really does.
We can talk about wizard a little bit. There's like one wizard in the game, so
yeah, there is 2. One only playable. I mean, the only playable one right now is Kano.
Yep. That's what I meant, by the way.
Kind of gives you the flavor of throwing flames, shooting flames, and stuff like that. Mainly, I mean, only arcane damage unless you run your 1 nourishing. But they just are out here slinging spells.
Yep.
Icelander was a very different vibe than Kano. Kano, I don't know.
It's a control deck. Icelander is definitely a control deck. It just like still did arcane damage.
They can be very tanky, where they can. I mean, they start at lower life. Their abilities are skyrocketed through the roof. That's why their life is lower. But pretty tanky. Most of their cards block for 3.
Yeah.
They're blocking out pitch stacking to do their 1 big combo turn to OTKU. I played a little bit of Kano, as you listeners probably know. It's just pretty much pitch stacking and throwing that big attack. Icelander, Ty, you and Bailey both can probably describe it more than me and Cliff, but Icelander was just, like you were saying, control. You're trying to slow your opponent down with the frostbites.
Not even necessarily control, as it was more of like disruption.
Mm-hmm. Disruption, I would say. Yeah.
Absolutely disruption. That extra cost on attacks bites you. And then just the threat of being able to still like throw another one their way on their turn. It's very unlike Kano, like you said, where you're trying to get that big combo kill turn. This is slowing the game down, and just doing very minute things to tip the odds in your favor.
Yep.
And using that, like, you still most of the time would have like your combo turn off of like your striders and stuff like that.
Yep.
But that's like very end game. Like, I mean, Icelander games always felt so fucking close.
Yeah, yeah.
Right up until that like Storm Strider's turn.
Yep. Like the Storm Striders and Icelander, you're waiting for them to be down to almost single digit, if not like at 12.
Yep.
That's like your target
like
goal.
12 is
whereas in Kano, like,
Kano
it doesn't even matter. You can be 30 plus.
Be 30 plus and you can go off.
I would say the main difference, honestly, between wizards and like other classes is just the idea that they can do anything at instant speed. They can go off at any moment they really want or choose. They kind of are playing the game on a different level than everyone else, or a different playing field, I'll say, with the way arcane damage is handled by pitching. You know, you're not actually blocking it. You have to pitch to block it. So you can force decks into just very weird spots with Kano. And I honestly, one of the classes I loved is, I mean, I keep coming back to World of Warcraft, but I think a lot of the RPG feeling of this game translates into WoW, so that's why I keep doing that. But like wizards in World of Warcraft they were the shit. Yep. You just sat back, you casted your Frostbolt over and over again into your bigger spells and shit, and you go off and it's just high DPS. You were just like the best DPS class.
Yep.
And honestly, Kano's the best DPS class in the game. In terms of just like damage per second, right?
I
If
don't
you
even
try
know
to
if his
translate that into a card
DPS
game.
as much
No, I
as
know,
his,
but
like,
in one
burst.
turn,
Like-
in one
like,
turn though, his
yeah,
DPS
yeah.
for that turn has got to be fucking
Yeah, but it's not like consistent throughout the game.
No,
like I
you're
would
right. I guess
definitely say
maybe
more
it's not
burst
DPS
than anything.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But
they like I said, I think the biggest thing that sets them apart is just the fact that they can place spells and do damage to you on your turn.
It's very confusing sometimes.
Yeah, not many decks can do that.
There's like a handful of Icelander games where we'd like finish a whole sequence and we'd look up and we're
Whose
like,
turn
fuck,
is it?
whose turn is it again?
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Can we talk about Part the Mist Veil and how we're probably getting a wizard in this set?
Yeah, I think.
Oh,
I
the
think
Mistlands?
You think we'll see a non-talented Icelander?
No, because you have to like if you.
What's all this talk about the waning moon?
No, if you give us fucking Icelander, you have to like revitalize her card pool. You can't just like give us Icelander and then make her card pool that exists right now still unplayable.
Yeah.
Because if you give her no talent, then all those Ice Wizard cards are still just
That's
unplayable.
fine. That's fine. But the waning moon.
No, I think we'll get a new wizard. The fact that we've had one, or like, well, okay, we've had Icelander, but like, Kano has always been there, and like, I mean, Kano's been brought up in a lot of discussions recently, just within the Fab community a lot because he's
He's
like,
getting very
he's, like,
close
pretty
to
good.
rotation too.
No,
isn't
fuck
he?
no, dude. He's at like 200 points.
Am I thinking like Blitz Kano maybe?
Blitz Kano is gone.
Yep.
I thought CC Kano was way closer.
No
CC
way.
Kano's at 300, 294.
I thought he was at like 5 or something.
No, he won't. Well, he's gonna be here for a long time.
Good for him.
So, but yeah, let's get into our next class.
Is this-
Assassin.
Fuck assassins.
Yeah, I know. We have
Yeah,
Arachne
the-
and
the-
Very roguelike,
Fucking-
I'll say.
The fucking class that I would put them most akin to is scum.
Some scum and
Fucking
villainy.
sleazebags.
Learn how to block,
Dude,
sweetie.
I hate assassins.
Yeah, they're sneaky, man. If you
They're dirty.
like when your opponent doesn't really know what's
Didn't
going
fucking
on,
take a shower
or
today.
they might have an idea of what
Not
you
me.
have, but you never really. With assassins, like you can, like you were saying with warriors, you can really bluff people. You know,
Yep.
I feel like assassins have that going for them. Azuri especially, right, with the potential of
Yes.
reacting stuff in, and it's just like you never really know what the fuck she's doing. Honestly, I just never block Azuri, and if I do, it's like because I have a D react that I can then come in over the top after she reacts or something. But yeah, assassins, I would liken them to like rogues. If you like rogues and shit, sneaky. I mean, assassins in other games, it really feels like they are. Well, with Azuri, you sneak cards in, and with Arachne, you're manipulating their deck and like getting rid of their cards that way.
Yep.
With your on hits and stuff. Both dagger based, you know.
Yep.
Really, if you're kind of into the dual wielding dagger thing, you know.
Unless you're a Talishar man, but you're wild enough you do that.
Yeah.
There's also the flavor on the daggers I really like. Because depending on your matchup, you can swap in different combinations of daggers. And the daggers are almost like you're casting a debuff. Like,
Yep.
if this hits, then you lose this.
Yep.
Type of thing, you know? So I love that. Sitting at the beginning of the game, I'm like, did I pick the right, debuffs for this one?
Yep. No, I think one of the cool things about assassins too, like you said, like warriors might have their armor suite to pick from or their weapon suite to pick from, but assassins also have their daggers to pick from. I think a lot of them are playing most daggers. It's just it's a question of which ones do you bring in for which matchup, and like that game plan or preparing for that, I think would be like awesome or fun. Like, I'm playing a guardian now. Which daggers do I need for this one? And you have all these choices where, like you said, Cliff, the daggers kind of they come behind these attacks that like they really are benefiting from your debuff. Where if you let a dagger hit, which you almost always do, now the attack becomes even harder to block or harder to deal with. Do you know what I mean? So it really does feel like they're weakening you along the way as an assassin would. With their daggers, for sure.
Their sideboards can be very versatile.
Oh yeah, like the ways to build assassins are. I mean, I don't think there's one traditional way to do it.
No.
Yeah, I think they're not really aggressive. I wouldn't call them aggro decks. They're true mid-range decks. I think maybe even more fatigue decks like
to hide in
Arachne.
the fucking shadows.
We be lurking.
Yeah. Are you still on Arachne for PQ season? Is that what I'm hearing, Cliff?
I'm still up. I'm more up in the air on it now after tuning Reinar up and playing a little bit with him this weekend. I'm very on the fence about bringing Reinar to the Pro Quest now. Or the calling.
Yeah, I think Reinar is actually a really good choice right now. He is doing a lot of good things.
The deck felt good, Ty. The deck felt good. I didn't have all the pieces I wanted, and I didn't have send packing at all. I've got a couple of those. I'm going to need to order a third swing big because I don't know what happened to mine, so that sucks. But that's about the only thing I need, I think.
Well, you're going to need those for sure. Josh, did you just get a what is it? What did they say in the newsroom when you get breaking news? I don't fucking know.
Breaking news coming in. I just figured something out that I did not realize.
So it's not breaking news, but it's...
I don't know. Maybe people don't know this. So as I was scrolling through the Living Legend page, scroll down to the bottom. At the bottom of it, there is a section called Deathmatch Arena Leaderboard. I'll read it here. Throughout the Heavy Hitters organized play season, a Deathmatch Arena leaderboard will be maintained for the 6 contestant heroes. Points will be based on event wins at eligible Heavy Hitters limited format events, including Road to Nationals, Battle Hardened, Professional Tournament Invites, PTIs, and Calling. The hero who sits atop of the leaderboard at the conclusion of ProQuest Season 5, scheduled to conclude on May 5th, will be declared the champion of the Deathmatch Arena and will have their triumph immortalized on a special prize card that will be shipped to each player who won an event that contributed points to the winning hero's leaderboard total.
Yep.
Players who win multiple events with the champion hero will receive multiple prize cards.
Yeah, so I think it's Kasai. Kasai won the most.
It is Kasai so
for
far.
anyone that won a Kasai RTN, for limited specifically, they will be shipping off cards right to your house. I'm pretty sure.
Yep, right to
pretty
your
fucking
address.
cool. We don't really know what the card is yet.
Nope.
I can imagine they're going to be pretty expensive if the card is playable or if it is like a staple in the game. If it's some like cold foil altar or something.
I feel like it'll be an altar, like a cold foil altar.
Yeah. What if it's just like Kasai? If it's some weird like version of Kasai because she's the one that like won or something maybe.
I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, the points are pretty widespread. I mean, obviously the top 2 are Kasai and
I'm surprised you didn't know about this.
I did not know about this. No, I did not.
Yeah.
Kasai and KO. Kasai at 58, KO at 44. Next is Betsy at 20, Olympia at 10, Victor at 10, and Reinar at 10.
Hell yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, we got a little bit of time.
I mean, our RTNs are done, I think.
RTNs are done, but it says May 5th at the end of ProQuest season.
Weird. Even ProQuest is all CC, though. There's no limited heavy hitters in ProQuest season,
Well,
so it's fucking weird.
I think is there another Battle Hardened? Or, like, Battle Hardened at
maybe there's
Pro Tour LA or
some stuff, yeah.
And Pro Tour Amsterdam.
Yeah, could be.
So we'll see what happens there.
But yeah, to conclude kind of our topic, I know it's like super hard to pick a new hero in this game, Like I was just thinking of Tucker the other day, like, he's had a break in the game for a few months and his freaking heroes, meanwhile, just getting all these points. And by the time Tucker comes back, Dromai will fucking probably be gone. So it's like, he's going to have to pick a new hero. And how do you do that? It's hard to choose. So I thought it would be just a good idea to maybe go through these classes for you guys and maybe give you an insight on how they work and what they're doing.
And kind of give you an idea on what you want to choose
that's
for
why
ProQuest.
I'm not loyal to one bitch, man.
You can't be. Gotta have
I don't get too
decks.
attached, so when they go, I can just move on to the next one.
Yep.
Gotta be a jack of all trades.
Exactly. But no, like it does suck when like you're like eventually You know, it might be a year from now, it might be 20 years from now, but when Azalea does rotate, dude, I'm going to be fucking devastated.
Imagine Dylan on Katsu.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Been trying to get him to play other stuff for a while now, just so that he gets like a buffer. Like, hey, like that'll be devastating for him, you know. So it's like,
yeah,
it's tough. I love the LL system, but I mean there are just definitely things about it that aren't ideal. You know, I wish there was like a perfect way to do it where you're not making stuff unplayable. I mean, I guess it is playable,
you ban
right?
Starvo and it solves like 90% of the problems.
The thing, too, is we don't have LL stuff going on right now. There's no LL armories I don't think you can do yet. And so it's not really a format yet.
No.
We have heroes in it and stuff, but it is still just a very new...
a lot of heroes in it now.
Yeah, it's like 6 to 8 or something.
I suppose you can play whoever you want.
7.
Yeah, Stubby's 5, dude.
Hey, why not?
Yeah, dude. That's a real deck in LL.
It is.
All right,
But-
gents. You want to get the fuck out of here?
Let's do it. Thank you, listeners, for joining in on episode 32 this week. It's been a longer one than we recently have done, but you can always
What are
join
we
it. I think we're pushing an hour and 45 right now.
Fuck. All right. Good
But-
shit, boys.
You can always join the Discord. Always in the show notes. The link's always there, so you can just click on it and join right in. You can send us an
please
email.
come talk to us. We're always very active in there, just shooting the shit or talking about upcoming events, that kind of stuff.
We
It's a
just
good
added
time.
we just added a judge tab for anybody that wants to ask a judge a question. He is there to answer.
Yeah.
But you can also send us an email at bigdeckenergycast@gmail.com. We always accept emails there. But as we always like to say, signing off. Peace.
See ya.
Until next time.
As always, it's a pleasure.